Hey everybody, I'm Jordan Garza and welcome to Unredacted. So today, rather than just focusing on a handful of topics and going really in depth on them, I'm gonna show you a multitude of things. I mean, it's insane, and my tabs bar is ridiculous right now. But I want to show you a multitude of things that, in my opinion, seem to coalesce into evidence that this country is deeply, deeply fractured. And I don't just mean by normal like traditional standards of right and left. I mean, it seems to be fractured even down party lines. You have leftists saying things that even their comrades, as they would say, are just they find baffling. You have prominent conservative figures coming out and saying that Trump isn't the answer for 2024. Even we all know he is. And you have the FBI seemingly acting as somewhat as like a secret police force for the Biden administration. And that's not me saying that. That's a poll that people have said. I think it was like 40% said that they believe that the FBI was working in some kind of conjunction with the Biden administration. And there's hearsay rumors now saying that the classified documents taken from Mar-a-Lago in the raid in regards to the Russiagate incident that somehow implicated the FBI. And it just so happens that that actually pertains to my first story. It's going to show us like, so let's get into it right here. So this is from New York Post, and this is actually from, I think, today. Top FBI agent resigns amid claims he shielded Hunter Biden from the probe report. And I don't really like that framing because it says he resigns, but he was actually put on administrative leave for about a month after this all came out. That it was actually, he was also implicated in the Mar-a-Lago report. And after the FBI started taking a lot of flack for that, he actually was put on administrative leave, and then later he was resigned and was removed from his post forcibly. And I'm not look. Top FBI agent at Washington field office reportedly resigned from his post last week after facing intensive scrutiny over allegations he helped shield Hunter Biden from criminal investigations onto the laptop and business dealings, and because of the Mar-a-Lago incident. Timothy Tubalt, a FBI assistant special agent in charge, was allegedly forced out after he was accused of political bias in handling the probes involving President Biden's son, sources told the Washington Post-Times on Monday. The agent was escorted out of the field office by at least two headquarter-looking types last Friday, the sources said. Tubalt and the FBI didn't immediately respond to the Post requests on comment from Monday. Tubalt, a 25-year veteran, has also been on... Oh, look here, this is perfect. Tubalt, a 25-year veteran... Duvall, a 25-year veteran, has also been on leave for a month after top Republicans on Senate Judiciary Committee Chief Gasleak started raising concerns about the whistleblower claims that the FBI had obstructed its own investigations into the first son. I believe that's, and there's there's the guy right there. In a letter to the FBI Director Christopher Wray in July, Gasly said that Tybalt, the FBI Supervisor Intelligence Analyst Brian Oten, was allegedly involved in a scheme to undermine derogatory information collected to Hunter Biden by falsely suggesting it was disinformation. And that's true. I think Mark Zuckerberg was on Joe Rogan recently, and he said that the FBI reached out to him prior to this leak and said that, hey, there was some Russian disinformation. We just wanted you to be aware of that. And then Mark Zuckerberg said, he openly admitted that they actually deranked this information. We still allowed you to post it, but it was buried in the algorithm, it was buried in everyone's feed and very hard to actually read if you weren't the one actually posting it. This is some of my point on saying the left is so blind in their pursuit to take down Trump that they undermined any kind of thing that would be beneficial to Trump or inflammatory against the Biden administration. But look at this. Tebel also allegedly tried to kill off a valid avenue of investigation of possible Hunter Biden criminality until at least 1 month before November-July 2020 election. Oh, that's not interfering. And that's another thing they've been talking about. Like, we didn't want to interfere the election in 2020, so they suppressed this information. Tebal allegedly ordered the matter closed without providing a valid reason. Wow, so they're just arbitrarily closing things. Subsequent attempts to improperly mark the matter at FBI systems so that it could not be opened in the future. So he also, not only did he give you no good reason for closing the investigation, he also said, and there's no reason to ever look into that again. This is why I'm saying there's such a deep divide, even on left and right. I mean, because there's leftists decrying this, saying this is criminal, this is ridiculous, the FBI is not above the law, and they need to be held to the same regulations as everyone else. And I mean, it's good that this guy was eventually, outed and, was put on administrative leave and then, forced to resign because he was caught for this. But it wouldn't have been brought up if it wasn't for Zuckerberg talking about it last week in Joe Rogan and the FBI catching so much flack because of the Mar-a-Lago raids. And look, and like I was talking about right here, if you see where I'm highlighting, Mark Zuckerberg last week. I'm not going to go over it again because I just talked about it. But yeah, and here's a clip. You guys can look it up. He openly admitted that the FBI came to them and they were like, oh yeah, we'll back off. Meanwhile, you have very prominent people like Ben Shapiro saying things like this. Whoa, wait, what's going on there? Hey, stop it.
We're going to fix that.
Okay, sorry, I had to fix that. Anyway, you have people like Ben Shapiro saying GOP is cruising for a bruising by sticking with Trump. Now, I'm never going to sit here and say I'm smarter than Ben Shapiro, but in my opinion, Trump is the only candidate that's going to be nominated in 2024. But I believe Shapiro's reasoning behind this is that, he says the more Trump pushes, the more he makes these endorsements like he did. By the way, 98% of the people Trump endorsed, including Democrats, which he did in jest, won their election. So don't tell me that Trump is hurting the campaign on any level. It doesn't make sense. But again, Ben Shapiro is way smarter than me, and I'm not going to sit here and try to argue with him. But let's see what he has to say. Prominent right-wing media personality Ben Shapiro has called on the Republican Party to ditch former President Donald Trump to boost their chances of winning election. The founder of the Daily Wire news site and the host of the daily podcast The Ben Shapiro Show suggested that the GOP should nominate a non-Trump candidate in 2024 to make it harder for Democrats to appeal to the independent voter. Now, that actually isn't a horrible idea because, pretty much the only campaigning strategy of the left right now is just to bash Trump. And that actually somewhat makes sense. So again, like I said, Ben Shapiro is much smarter than me. There is a reason Democrats are eager to keep Trump in the center of the conversation. Half of independents say Trump is a major factor of the vote, and they're breaking 4-1 for Democrats. Shapiro tweeted, Republicans shouldn't play that game. If they do, they're cruising for a bruising. That does actually make sense. A lot of independents, you have your staunch conservatives that are going to vote for Trump no matter what. And I don't mean that in a zealotry way. I just mean that based on who's potentially set up to run in 2024, conservatives are going to go with Trump just because that just seems to be the way it's going. He's saying this another thing because there's a lot of public opinion polls and saying things that are saying the Democrats are slowly gaining. Ever since the primaries ended, the Democrats have actually been gaining in the polls, and that might be part of what's influencing this. His comments were made in light of a recent public opinion polling that showed Democrats could conceivably keep the Senate majority following the November election midterms, a prospect once deemed far-fetched. Polls previously indicated Republicans stood a good chance of sweeping both chambers of Congress, and in my opinion, I believe they still will. History seems to support that. Whenever a Republican is president, typically in the next cycle of the midterm, the Democrats will gain more control. But recent Supreme Court rulings, Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, which overturned Roe v. Wade, has apparently galvanized Democratic and independent voters. The Republicans are losing steam in the 2020 election, Shapiro tweeted. And this isn't indicative of the entire party. Some people are saying, like Jack Posobiec are saying, this is actually somewhat of a preemptive attempt to, stifle Trump's chances of winning in 2024 because, like I said, Democrats really have no other avenue of campaigning at this point. So let's look at this from Human Events. Jack Posobiec, we're going to fix that. Jack Posobiec, we are in the midst of a preemptive coup because they don't have any other way to stop Trump. Human Events Daily, Jack Posobiec took aim at the Biden administration, persisting targeting the former president Donald Trump, who has hinted he may seek the presidency for a second term. The Assembly of the January 6th committee has now joined in the Department of Justice in doing everything they can to prevent Trump from running again. Again, he's hinted at it, but it's a well-known secret that Trump is most likely going to run again. We are in the midst of a coup, a preemptive coup, which is underway between Washington, D.C., Mar-a-Lago, and every single state in the nation. They banned a sitting president from social media, impeached him 2 times, jailed his supporters, and now they've raided his home. Then they go on TV and they call you a fascist. And no. Fascist, they raid their political opponents. They put them in jail. There was a GOP representative that was jailed and raided because of, I believe, something in the light of January 6th. And that's their big catch-all right now. January 6th. He supported January 6th. And this is why I believe we're fractured on such a deep level. And I'm not the only one saying this. Look at this. 40% of GOP voters think there will be a civil war likely in the next 5 years. And I think it was something of the realm of 34% of all U.S. likely voters believe in the next 5 years we will have some sort of conflict. And this is from Rasmussen Reports. This is pretty highly credited. Let's read a little bit. The race-driven anti-police protest nationwide. 1 in 3 voters continue to believe America is on the brink of another civil war. So the headline might be slightly hyperbolic, but it's true. A lot of people believe we're heading for some kind of heightened conflict because the left and the right have become so hyperbolic. It's impossible to tell what's just glamorized rhetoric and what's actually veiled threats. It's hard. I mean, and then there's people like this, like Sam Harris, saying things like, "I don't care what is on Hunter Biden's laptop. I would have voted for it. It doesn't matter to me." And I'm not making that up. Look at this. Hold on, check this out.
And started digging his hole even deeper.
Listen, I don't care what's in Hunter Biden's. I mean, Hunter Biden, at that point, Hunter Biden literally could have had the corpses of children in his basement. I would not have cared, right? It's like, there's nothing. First of all, it's
the corpses of children in his basement, and he would not have cared. Again, like I had said earlier, even leftists are going, "Whoa, dude, you got to chill out." But this is a very clear. This is, I mean, look, he goes on. Hold on,
Hunter Biden, right? It's not Joe Biden, but even if Joe, whatever scope of Joe Biden's corruption is, like if we could just go down that rabbit hole endlessly and
oh, you can go down that rabbit hole endlessly because he's been in government for I don't know, ever, and he's constantly been on the ass end of plagiarism claims. He was jailed twice, but both of those things to me kind of seem like ridiculousness. But hold on, I'm sorry.
Understand that he's getting kickbacks from Hunter Biden's deals in Ukraine or wherever else, right? Or China. It is
China
infinitesimal compared to the corruption we know Trump is involved in.
Yes, that's right.
And don't worry about this guy. And I mean, yeah, infinitesimal compared to the corruption we know Trump is involved in. Oh, you mean like the Russia report? Oh, wait, that was a hoax. You mean like the Steele dossier? Oh, also a hoax. Wait, you mean like January 6th? Oh, wait, he actually told people not to go there. Seems like Sam Harris might be a little unhinged, but like I said, even the left is finding this. He's out of his mind, and everyone agrees. But I mean, who is this guy? Who's Sam Harris? I mean, he's just an author and a neuroscientist and an avid supporter of Biden. I look at and here's another thing that I'm going to show that it kind of just brings my point all the way around. Even staunch leftists are saying things like this. Joe Rogan tells, I guess Joe Rogan isn't a staunch leftist, but he's a self-proclaimed leftist. Joe Rogan tells listeners to vote Republican, bashes Dems for the COVID-19 errors. And this is from a recent podcast where he was talking with, I believe it was Aaron Rodgers. And basically he kind of talked about how, some government goon type guy just came in one day to the NFL field office and basically told Aaron, "Hey, you got to take this shot." And this is how it works. And Aaron had a whole lot of questions for him, and the guy was like, "Hey, I'm not a lawyer. Just do it." Reading this real quick, and then I promise we're going to wrap it up. Joe Rogan pushed his listeners to vote Republican while taking Democratic Party leaders to task over their policies related to the COVID-19 pandemic. The comedian slammed COVID-19 lockdowns and other restrictive measures during a discussion with NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers on an episode of The Joe Rogan Experience released last Saturday. Rogan and Rodgers each pointed to measures taken by some Democratic-led states to limit outdoor dining, beach access to COVID-19 cases serves an example of missteps, and they were an example of missteps. Another cool thing that happened recently on YouTube, I'm allowed to say this. Sunlight helped kill COVID. Masks did not help with COVID. Yeah, thanks, Susan. You got one right. Look, like I said, guys, it all coalesces into basically what my opinion is the breakdown. It's a fracturing of the country on such a deep level that you have people like Joe Rogan saying to vote Republican. You have people like Sam Harris saying, "I don't care if there's bodies in Biden's basement, you vote for him." And you have FBI agents being forced to resign because they're trying to protect the Biden administration. You have Mar-a-Lago raids just going out of their way to attack the president in any way they can find to keep him from running. If the Democrats were actually going to win, if they were actually going to take over, if they were actually winning this fight, they wouldn't be fighting so hard to stop Trump. You wouldn't have to do this. You kick back, put your feet up, say, "These guys are going to vote for me no matter what. It doesn't matter." No, I think this is evidence that we're winning, that the side of freedom is winning. I don't think that this country is doomed. I do think that we have a lot of work to do if we're not going to go down the rabbit hole. But that's pretty much it for me today, guys. I'm also going to be putting stuff up on Rumble from now on. So if you're using Rumble, hey, follow me on there. It's probably going to be mostly the same stuff, but I might put some different things on there, maybe some things that only Rumble let me post. I'm going to look into what I can get away with on there. But that's it for me today, guys. Keep your eyes open, your ears to the ground. Stay safe out there. I'll see y'all next time.